Welcome to Moving Through Menopause. It's Friday morning and I'm with Nikki Chamberlain. This morning we are talking all about coaching, and Nikki is a health and wellness coach. And obviously I work with people and train them and coach them and all that kind of thing physically. So between the two of us, we thought we could tackle this topic with some knowledge. So we're here this morning to enlighten, to have a chat, give us your comments, and let us know what you think about this topic. So welcome, Nikki.
Hi, Philippa. How are you doing today? Have you got gorgeous sunshine where you are, like I have here?
Oh well, I did have, and then it's just hidden itself away for a minute, which Anyway, it's supposed to be nice tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that.
Perfect for a Saturday, just what you need.
Yeah, exactly. So we're talking about coaching and what is it, and why should we bother? And I think this is something that definitely on my social media platforms we're inundated with these messages about coaching on lots of different levels: business coaching, uh, fitness coaching, and health coaching. So it's obviously popular with the coaches. The question is, what do the people think about this? So let's find out a little bit more about how you work and what you do.
Yeah, and it's an interesting point that you make there, isn't it? There are kind of times when you scroll through the social media feed and it feels like everybody on there seems to be putting themselves forward as a coach. And you do kind of wonder whether there's a bit of of coaching fatigue. Um, as a health and wellness coach myself, obviously it's something that I'm really passionate about. And I think that I'm passionate about it largely because I've got my own personal coaching experiences, and I know what difference those have kind of made to me and to my life. So I know what coaching can bring and what it can do for you. Um, but the big question around coaching and what is it? It's certainly kind of um, it's a very interesting question to tackle actually, because it's very different to something like mentoring. So you've kind of got two sides of the coin there. I was once looking up actually the difference between coaching and mentoring, and I came across quite a neat explanation which really kind of summed up what the two are and what the differences are, and kind of telling us what coaching is. And it was something along the lines of um, mentors have great answers for your questions. Coaches have great questions for your answers.
Oh, I like that.
And
Yeah.
and I think so I think that really kind of places coaching where it's supposed to be, which is that it's client centered, but it very much requires you to do the work.
Yeah, I think that's right, isn't it? It's I've worked with different support mechanisms, and the thing that I've always felt is that having somebody from outside of your circle of friends, outside of your family circle, everybody wants to give you the answers. Husbands in particular love to tell us, the answers to our conundrum. And so really what I think we're looking for is the answers from within, and how do we extract that information from ourselves, and having a guide to support us, and really dig into what it is that is inside of us, and help that to find its way out. I think is where we're at with this.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the biggest value around coaching really is that it's empowering.
Mm.
So, a coach is there to empower you to make the changes in whichever area of your life it is that you're looking to make the changes in. So, you know, they're not there to tell you what to do. They're not there to kind of give you a prescriptive one-size-fits-all program. You know, it's about empowering you so that you can recognize the changes that you might want to make and then be able to take those forward beyond the coaching sessions that you're working on, so that they can then become a part of your life and something that you can do yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the thing for me is that there's so many challenges around making changes. Now, maybe you're not in a place where you think change is required, but if you get to a point in your life where you decide that you know, something's amiss, something's awry, and we're not even quite sure what it is, to have somebody to you know, like I say, extract that information out of us and then guide us, because I know motivation for change is something that can be really hard to come by, and sustaining that, you know, the first flurry of a new behavior, it's all novel, it's all you know, we're all motivated, and then before you know it, we're falling off the wagon and it's all gone awry. So having somebody there to keep you, you know, true to your own goals as well is really helpful, I think.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, you know, a coach is going to help you gain clarity. So, you know, I mean, you started off what you were saying there about you might not necessarily know what the issue is, but you know that there is something that you need to address, or you know, something that you want to look at. So, you know, a good coach will ask you lots of questions that really get you to dig deep and think about where you are at the moment, really think about what's going on, and quite importantly, think about your why. So that's kind of always the starting point, really. So, you know, gaining clarity around where things are now. I mean, that, you know, one of the critical things really about coaching is it's very much forward looking. So it's not particularly about digging into the past and looking at what's happened in the past and what's gone before. You know, that would be sort of more from a counselling or therapy point of view. From a coaching point of view, it's about accepting what's happened has happened. This is where you find yourself now, and where is it that you want to be based on where you are now, and kind of how can we take that forward. So it's about, you know, gaining that clarity and really understanding where you are and where it is that you want to be. But very, very importantly, what's the real driver? What's the real motivation? What's your why? Because, you know, we're talking about behavior change, and things will get difficult, things will get tough. And it's understanding that why that's going to sustain you and push you through the times when you struggle and find it tough to keep going, moving forward.
Yeah, and you know, for me, that's we're talking about moving through menopause, because we are, and you know, and this is a time of reflection. It's a time of what now. You know, depending on your circumstances, but certainly, you know, for me, kids flying the coop, and you know, more time on your hands than you ever had before, you start to hanker back to the days when they were toddling around your ankles, and you didn't have to think about what you were going to be doing with your day. You know, it was happening to you.
So, it was mapped out for you.
Yeah, that's it. It was all mapped out, and now, you know, I love them dearly, but you know, and I would happily have them around me all the time, but they really don't care for me at all anymore. So, so, you know, you find yourself with time on your hands, and either, you know, if you're not hankering to the past, you're thinking of, well, what next? You know, because there's a whole lot of life left to be dealing with. You know, and I think that's the thing, that, you know, what you did before isn't necessarily what you want to keep doing. You know, much as you might have had a wonderful time, and maybe you can't keep doing it anyway for whatever reason. hang gliding. I'm just thinking out of the box. Maybe there's a time when you have to stop doing these things. Oh dear. Luckily for me, Pilates, you can do that till you die, I reckon. So we're good. We're good on that front. But yeah, you know, so I think this is it. Life changes in circumstance. I mean, gosh, if this COVID crisis isn't a wake up call for, you know, whether you want it or not, for lots of people, it is. It's kind of making us examine our lives, isn't it? And so having this neutral third party who, like you say, totally in your corner, it's all about you. That, you know, surely that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, from a coaching perspective, you know, it's about creating a safe space, and it's about, you know, providing somebody independent, non-judge, having somebody who's independent and importantly non-judgmental, so that, you know, you can really open up around what it is that you want and where it is that you want to go. And, you know, finding somebody that you have a good rapport with, who can hold you accountable. I mean, you know, I think that's the other sort of key critical element of coaching, really, is that point of accountability. You know, I mean, as a health and wellness coach, it's interesting, isn't it? So people know what a healthy lifestyle looks like. People know what's the right thing to do and what's maybe not the wrong thing to do, but the less right thing to do, if we want to kind of be, you know, correct, a bit more correct about things. People know what's good around eating habits and drinking habits and exercise habits and working habits and stress habits, but it doesn't mean that people do it all the time or any of the time. Things can slip. And
Yeah.
it's having that point of accountability to keep you on the straight and narrow, which you very often you can't do it yourself. I mean, you know, I said earlier on that you know, I have a coach. I have two coaches. I have a coach for my running, and I have a coach around my sort of mindset, motivation, business, work side of things. And you know, I had a call with her earlier this week, and we discovered that, you know, even I was letting my boundaries slip between work and life and building up my business, as I am a new business owner, you know, starting to just stretch out those working days a little bit. And I needed her as that point of accountability to just rein me back in and help me recognize that that's what I was doing.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. We're, you know, we might know all the answers, but having that accountability is something that everyone needs. Being a coach, being a trainer, you know, I attend classes, I teach classes. I know what I'm doing, but you know, attending classes, you know, give someone the opportunity to look at my body and tell me what I'm doing right or what I'm doing wrong. And, you know, we're never at a point where we're finished. You know, well, you know, we're a work in progress. We are hopefully constantly evolving and refining, and habits will creep in, like you say. You know, the habits that you default is to go on automatic pilot. And so when moving, I was talking earlier in the week to a singing teacher, and you know, she was saying about singing, how you have lessons to learn how to sing well, and that if you don't keep having the lessons, you end up defaulting back to the familiar well-trodden path, which might just be slightly away from the ideal. And that's the same with movement, and it's the same with lots of things, that teachers need teachers. So maybe all these coaches can just coach one another in a big circle.
The circle of life in some way.
The circle of life, that's right. But no, I mean, having that neutral third party, someone you're not related to, someone who you can just let it all out, and be perfectly honest and get some really structured input. I just wondered whether you have a view on individual coaching versus groups, because I see, lots of people talking about erring towards group coaching, and I just wonder sometimes the motivation for that. Is it better in a group? Is it better as an individual? What do you have any thoughts around this?
To coin a phrase, it's definitely horses for courses situation. There are advantages to both of them, and it entirely depends on what you kind of want to get out of your coaching experience. So a lot of people will quite often jump into group coaching initially, purely and simply because from the coachee's point of view, it can often be a lower cost entry point. So, they will very often, people will be more inclined to kind of jump in at that sort of lower investment level. And it can often be sort of your first experience into a coaching environment, which you can kind of move on from. Setting that aside, the group coaching environment enables you to benefit not just from the support of your coach, but from the support of everybody else within that group. So, there's more support in there, there's more points of accountability, and you can help each other as you move forward through the process. So that's sort of on the group coaching side. Obviously, on the individual coaching side, if you're looking very specifically for, your own very bespoke, very focused, one-to-one time directly with your coach, then, and you perhaps don't want to share your challenges and your issues more with a wider group of people, then the individual coaching option might be the right route to go down.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I can see you're right. Benefits for both. And it's the same with training, isn't it? Your sporting pursuits. We can have group sessions and we can have private individual sessions, and you stand to gain from both. But it's really, I suppose, is the question of what are you hoping to achieve by entering into that program. And I know what you're saying about the cost point being appealing, but I kind of think maybe you need to get some stuff straight in your head before you then embark on a group situation. Certainly for me, I like to see people as an individual, to really get to know them before I then incorporate them into a group session, and then I'm working with a group of individuals, if you know what I mean. So but yes, quite horses for courses. And I guess it's something that I keep toying with, the idea of getting more in the way of coaching. I suppose as a physiotherapist, we always had to have clinical supervision, where you would bring your cases and to a more senior member of staff, and you would have the opportunity to chat things through. And I know that's the same with psychologists, that they have to have clinical supervision. Most professionals have a degree of supervision, I imagine. And so that's an opportunity to talk things through with somebody else who again, hopefully, we can approach these things with a clean slate and a neutral frame of mind. Although it is always, hard to leave behind your unconscious biases.
Yeah, and and obviously it's a definite challenge for the coach, isn't it? That it's not about you; it's absolutely about the client, and what it is that they want to achieve. What are their objectives? It's not about your objectives. You can certainly guide and you can certainly advise, and you're there to support. But it's not about telling somebody that whatever they have set out as their objectives is wrong. If it feels right for them, then it feels right for them. It's only, I mean, if it was something that you had a real ethical issue around, then that would be the point to kind of step away from the relationship rather than to necessarily kind of tell them to do something else. So, there are questions around that, but yeah.
So do you have this supervision, or is that with your coaching? Does that work? Does it work that way or not?
In terms of what, sorry?
Supervision. If you have issues that you're dealing with a client that's a challenging or whatever, do you have someone that you then are able to talk things through or get help?
No, not specifically. So one of the key things about coaching actually, which makes it quite a challenging environment, is that it's largely unregulated as a sector. So lots of people can say they're a coach and set themselves up without necessarily having gone through any formal coaching qualifications, which I know is one of the reasons why there is, some mistrust sometimes around the sector. For example, myself, I have taken a formally accredited course, and I'm a member of the UK Health Coaches Association, which is driving professional standards within the health and wellness sector. So, I have gone through that formal training, but once you've gone through that training process, if you're affiliated to an association, there may be a requirement for you to maintain some CPD or something like that for you to continue your accreditation with that association. But outside of that, no, there isn't. It's not regulated to the point of having that sort of supervision that you mentioned from your perspective.
Right, I'm with you. And I suppose there are lots of those different organisations as well that you refer to, lots of bodies. Everyone that undertakes training often then has a different umbrella organisation that they're then part of. So it's very fragmented, isn't it, I suppose, in that case?
Yeah, it is from that point of view as well. So there isn't kind of necessarily one standard that you would look out for. But, obviously, I mean, we're to a degree talking coaching in general here. Obviously, I'm specifically health and wellness coaching. But there's, as we've said, there's business coaches and career coaches and life coaches and holistic coaches and all manner of coaches, really.
Yeah. Well, so I suppose then it relies upon us doing our homework and checking into the backgrounds, and that's a lot easier to do nowadays with the internet as well, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, finding the right coach for you is really critical. It's very important to have a good rapport with the coach that you're working with. And you can have two coaches who've completed exactly the same course with exactly the same background, but there will just be a better rapport and a better personality fit with you between one coach rather than the other coach. And a lot of coaches offer sort of the discovery call type thing, so like 15-20 minute call, where you can just chat to somebody and sort of see how you fit. I've got my own reservations actually about the value of that, and whether 15 minutes actually is something, a time frame in which you can necessarily determine whether somebody is the right person or the wrong person to move ahead with. But it is very often offered, and it is there. It's something that you can take advantage of if you are wanting to check out a number of different coaches before you actually sort of take the plunge and move forward with anybody.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I certainly offer that option because I always want to be sure that I can help somebody or work with somebody, and that kind of, it's a two-way street as well, isn't it? That if I feel like I'm not the right person, then I would hands up and say so. So yeah, that I think take them up on that opportunity. It's surprising what you can find out about somebody in 15 minutes. when you think about it making virtually instant impressions of people. So, why not get face-to-face online, if not face-to-face in the flesh, and and just do some of your homework and do some research and make sure that you're, and you're never committed, are you? Well, I suppose if you sign up for a 6-week program, you are, but maybe have an hour or two first before you do that, just to get the flavour of what's on offer. Because it is important. We're not all made of money, and we're not all in that position where we can afford to throw it around like it grows on trees, as I say to my children. Like it grows on trees, and I'm sure that's because my granny said it to me. But so we have to be discerning, and we have to take responsibility for our own our own health and wellness, and make sure that we are taking these informed choices as much as is possible. But definitely seek out assistance if you're in any doubt. Have a chat, and sometimes it's just the very act of talking with somebody makes you think, actually, I'm on the right track, and we're all good. And maybe we could just check in once a fortnight, or once every 6 months, even, just to review. I suppose, do you do that, like an ongoing review type situation, or?
There tends not to be anything formal drawn into it, so it would be. It depends on. There's lots of different types of programs that different coaches offer as well. So some coaches might offer that, or the alternative is that you might have sort of a 6-week program or a 12-week program or something like that. And then, go away, work on it yourself a little bit further. And then down the line, you might come back for further assistance with the same point, or you might come back for further assistance. I mean, what I find is that I'll work with my clients on one particular thing, and they'll go away, they'll work on that, they'll kind of improve that. And then what that shows then actually is that they start to recognize other things in their life that they then want to work on. So they'll actually come back to me and work on a different aspect of their life. So it's kind of, tackling each one in turn as you go along. And that's the beauty of what you can do with coaching. You can really hone it down to a very specific issue or challenge that somebody's got, and then sort of pick those off and tackle them one by one.
I suppose it's like that whole peeling the onion, isn't it? It's that applies in a lot of disciplines, that you start to strip away the skin of the onion, and there we have lots of layers that lie beneath. And it's the same with bodies, it's the same with brains, it's the same with the dust in the house. You just start scratching at the surface, and the next thing you know, you're in the bottom of the cupboard clearing all the tins out. So
It's a great analogy, that, about the onion, actually peeling back the layers of the onion. It's a fantastic way of thinking about it, really. And it is a great analogy. But coaching can be transformational. It can very easily be life transforming. That's been my personal experience of it for me. But sometimes it's hard to push those messages out there, because transformation can sound like quite a big thing for people to face. So, but yeah, it absolutely can be. And for anybody that's not experienced or looked into coaching so far, I would definitely encourage them to do so.
Yeah, I think transformation is it's transform.
It's a big word, isn't it?
No, I could do with a dose of that. I'm not sure what I want to be transformed into. I know, Elle Macpherson. No.
So it would be the coach's job to then kind of help you uncover what it was that you wanted to be transformed into.
Oh, there you go. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it. You know, we're sometimes so tied up in the busyness of life, the busyness of our existence, that we just don't have that looking within, that time or that opportunity to look within. And even in lockdown, you know, this is our propensity, actually, to, even if we have got time, to busy ourselves so that we don't do that inward looking uh, sort of experience, because sometimes, you know, that's not comfortable, is it? It can sort of be a little bit uncomfortable to explore things, and so we will busy ourselves to as a way of avoiding perhaps just that in it more in introspection. And you know, this is something that I'm particularly good at, actually, keeping busy. So so taking some time out of your day, out of your week, out of your life, to dive a little bit deeper, look within, and just grow and learn and develop. And maybe we need, or we would benefit from having a partner in crime on that journey, like such as a health coach. So, you know, thank you, Nikki, for opening our eyes to the possibilities that coaching might just offer for people. And thank you so much for your time today. It's lovely to see you again. And yeah, let's keep chatting about this because it's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been great. I've enjoyed it. Thanks very much.
All right. You're welcome. Take care now.
Bye bye.
Bye.